Our goal with Dualboot Partners and any project that we work with any of our customers is to create definition within their business, is to help them define a problem, solve that problem, and repeatably have the same outcome come out of that problem using software.
But is this a solution that you're also leveraging and implementing externally for customers or clients, or do you just use it to optimize your processes?
We come in as a partner to accelerate their software development lifecycle, to create new products within their product suite and offering, and then to shore up existing products and make them better so that they can better address their customers' needs.
Do you guys have a certain requirement that must be met in order for a company to be able to work with you guys?
I will say that we're generally industry agnostic, but we do have a pretty strong focus around the energy sector, fintech. We really focus on business solutions.
Hey everybody, thank you for tuning in. My name is Andres Figueira and I'm going to be your host for the day. This show is brought to you by the Global Talent Company, helping fast-growing teams hire exceptional remote talent from Argentina, South Africa, and beyond. We connect companies with world-class professionals who bring skill, reliability, and a global perspective to every role. And just for our listeners, we're offering an exclusive 10% discount on your first hire. All you need to do is visit globaltalent.co, click Start Hiring, and mention the podcast listener discount when we reach out. And today, with me here, I am speaking with Billy Boozer, Chief Technology Officer at Dualboot Partners, a company that's building powerful digital solutions through a proven AI-driven process combining product, design, and engineering expertise to deliver business results. So, Billy, it's a pleasure to have you here on the show, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
In order for us to hit the ground running and give the audience a bit more context, would you be able to give us a bit more about your background, how you got to Dualboot Partners, and what Dualboot Partners does in your own words?
Absolutely. My name is Billy Boozer. I'm the Chief Technology Officer at Dualboot Partners. My background is building large-scaled systems. I built applications that were the #1 free and social networks in the Apple App Store in the past. And built for brands like NASCAR, Southern Company. And mostly my background in history has been focused around building large-scaled systems with open source software. At Dualboot Partners, we focus specifically on building digital products for mid-market and enterprise customers, where we focus around helping come alongside our customers as strategic technology advisors that help our existing customers as well as our new customers determine what their strategy and direction is moving into a new AI forward world. Where AI is at the forefront of the entire software development lifecycle. And to do that, we've built internal tools that help us to create leverage for our customers, things like DB90 and 3PO. But our focus is really to use AI and leverage that to create more positive and fast and reliable experiences for our customers.
Okay, and you mentioned that the DB90 and 3PO, am I getting those right?
That's correct.
Those are proprietary AI technologies that you guys have created at Dualboot?
That's correct. So as a part of doing hundreds, if not thousands of projects at this point for customers, we had a unique opportunity to examine the way the software development lifecycle is working across our 400 to 500 engineers that work here at Dualboot Partners. And on each one of those projects, it gave us a different insight as to how AI can augment the software development lifecycle. And along that way, we determined that we needed to start leveraging tools like MCPs and RAG models and vector databases to go out and create better experiences, not only for our internal development team, but for the customers that we work for. And so we developed an ecosystem internally called DB90 that places agentic interactions or agents right next to our engineers at every stage in the software development lifecycle. So if you think DevOps, building software, designing software, planning software, in all of those stages, there are different tools that can interact with that software development lifecycle. And what we did was we said each one of those stages deserves unique agentic interactions that will create leverage for our developers or any of the individuals that are working in that part of the process to go faster, to create a more accurate and reliable product. And so what we've done is we've created a framework or an ecosystem around those methodologies and tools so that we can, again, create leverage for our customers. And at the core of that, we built a product called 3PO, which is a platform that enables us to ingest code bases, ingest the media and other pieces of content that are associated with your piece of software. Think your support documentations, your ERD documents, anything that describes your architecture and your DevOps. And we consume all of that into a singular platform that generates a set of requirements for either replatforming a legacy tool that we want to modernize into a new technology, or it helps us to be able to inform with a knowledge base our developers with the most accurate information about how the code base exists right now and where we're moving with that new code base. And so the tool is really specifically focused around modernization at this point. But what's really cool about it is we found that in greenfield projects or even in brownfield projects where we're not starting from zero, or even if we're starting from zero, we've got the opportunity to use these tools and connect them into the software development lifecycle like no other team has been able to do.
Wow, that is crazy. Like, I love how you guys have really thought of everything and have placed AI agents as every step in this life cycle that we're speaking about. And Billy, something that still isn't clear to me is the fact that, okay, DB90 and 3PO are proprietary for Dualboot and you guys use it internally. But is this a solution that you're also leveraging and implementing externally for customers or clients, or do you just use it to optimize your processes?
Yeah, I'll give you an example. So an existing customer can come to us with a legacy piece of software. Let's say it's an old AS400 system, a Cobalt system. Another one we come across a lot is Fox Pro. And we come across these legacy systems where now they're difficult to maintain. Developers are difficult to hire. There's institutional knowledge over the last 20 or 30 years has come in and out of the business. So people don't even know what the core of the product does at this point. And what we do is we'll ingest the code base and all of the different media assets that are associated with it. So think diagrams, Excel spreadsheets, Word documents, anything that describes what's happening within this application. And then we consume all of that stuff to generate a set of requirements. Those requirements are really an abstraction of the business logic that's coded into that application so that we can take that business logic and re-platform it into a new technology. The thing that has never existed before now that AI is around is the actual the speed that's associated with evaluating these large chunks of code was impossible before. It took thousands of hours from individuals and developers. It wasn't worth the business's time to take and go and re-platform these tools. And now with AI, we've got the ability to go and evaluate large swaths of code, extract that business logic, and then teach someone or help someone to go and re-platform that into a new technology without having to know exactly how that existing piece of technology worked, if that makes sense. And so it's just created this time arbitrage that never existed that allows us to go out there and re-platform legacy technologies that for the most part, businesses had written off as either a cost of doing business, a section of their code base that is going to be technical debt forever, now has the opportunity to be reinvigorated and brought back into the fold into a modern technology.
Okay, that makes it a lot clearer. So what I'm feeling is that then you guys are taking this whole AI revolution that we're living and using the optimization of times that it provides to be able to do some stuff that hasn't been done before. And that really is crazy. Okay.
Absolutely.
And Billy, when you were giving us a bit more background regarding Dualboot Partners and everything, I heard you mentioned that you guys started and you were working with startups at the beginning, and now you're a bit more at the mid-level market. Would you be able to tell us a bit, a bit more on the story of how Dualboot Partners has evolved?
Absolutely. So we had three partners originally in the business, and their foundational experience was taking companies from 0 to 1. From, we're thinking about the idea, we're trying to figure out, we know that there's a pain point here, but how do we turn that into technology? And at the core of Dual Boot means that we don't just handle the technology. We come alongside your business and apply that technology to the business problem, or even help you suss out what the business problem is to then apply technology against it. And so along the way, we've helped an unknown amount of developers and business leaders start their businesses. And along that way, we learned what it took to build something from 0 to 1. And then
Okay.
our customers, being very successful and continuing to build those businesses, said, hey, how do you continue to come alongside us to help us make better decisions as our customer base grows? And so we grew with our customers, and at the same time, we realized, hey, there are other technology businesses or other businesses that are technology enabled that have the same problems that we have, which is they don't know what they don't know in their software development lifecycle. They're missing certain technical talent within their team, and they need someone to be able to come alongside them and partner with them. And so what we've realized is as we continue to build out things for our early stage businesses, many of those problems apply to the later stage businesses, except for they've got a lot of corporate bureaucracy and things like that that keep them from being able to move fast. And so we come in as a partner with each one of those businesses to accelerate their software development lifecycle, to create new products within their product suite and offering, and then to shore up existing products and make them better so that they can better address their customers' needs.
I feel then that you guys are really just like the business in itself is just helping out all these different companies to implement softwares or develop it for them. And Billy, do you guys have a certain requirement that must be met in order for a company to be able to work with you guys? Do they need to have a certain amount of resources in order to be able to be compatible with what Dualboot Partners is offering? Or is it a certain industry that you cater to? Or would you be able to develop software for anything and anyone?
I will say that we're generally industry agnostic, but we do have a pretty strong focus around the energy sector, fintech. We have customers in fintech. We've got customers all the way from neobanks to groups that do gambling applications, and then we really focus on business solutions. So you've got a business problem. You're not exactly sure how to apply technology to it, but you know that it's repeatable, right? And what you're trying to do is figure out how to take that repetition where a human might be doing something and move it into software, because then you can actually measure it and define whether it's meeting its expectations. And even in like the AI world, this kind of goes from, human beings are somewhat probabilistic. We say, we're evaluating the things that we see, and then we're going to make a determination on whether we're going to move forward or move back based on the probability that something bad's going to happen or something good's going to happen. Well, in the software world, it needs to be much more deterministic. And so what we do is we try to turn things into math equations. 2 + 2 = 4, and consistently have that exact same outcome as frequently as we possibly can. And so our goal with Dualboot Partners and any project that we work with any of our customers is to create definition within their business, is to help them define a problem, solve that problem, and repeatably have the same outcome come out of that problem using software.
And Billy, in terms of the growth you guys have had, I understand then that you've been able to keep growing with the customers you started out with at the beginning, and those customers grew and they realized what a strategic and an excellent partner Dualboot was, so they wanted to keep on working with you guys. And now that you're at another level or at a next stage, how has growth been in obtaining new customers? Is it now more of a focus in what you mentioned, getting mid-level market companies that aren't just starting out, but they're actually now a ways into their journey? Or could you shed some more light about that?
Yeah, I mean, some of our customers are 5, 8, 10 years into their development process of building out their companies. And what we've realized is again, many of the problems that they face along the way are the same problems that extremely large organizations face, where they may not have the internal technical competency to address a problem. They may be in a different industry or vertical and trying to diversify their revenue cycles. There are many different reasons a business would look to work with Dualboot partners, but often what we see is there are customers that don't have the internal capabilities to be able to go, build out a new technology or address this new kind of like wave of AI technologies. They just don't have the people internally at their business to go out and execute on these things, or the domain knowledge to be able to say, okay, this is how we would apply that technology. Most of the time, they're really just focused on getting the day-to-day tasks done.
Okay.
And what we do is we'll partner with their executive leadership team to understand what the direction that their company wants to go as far as the technology goes, and help guide them on the appropriate tools and appropriate pieces of software that they need to be able to execute on that vision, as well as build new software for them if there isn't a solution out there to do what they want that fits in their needs.
I'd love to change the spotlight from the external place we're talking about and your customers and how Dualboot Partners helps them to how Dualboot Partner works internally. I believe you guys are a company of about almost 300 people, right? So it's a lot of a workforce helping you out. My question is, do you guys manage yourselves in a remote first way, or do you have several different headquarters where you all work together in a physical space?
Yeah, we're a completely remote organization. We think that that's a value for our business because it enables us to be in a lot of different places without necessarily having to have a centralized hub across every region in our country. We do have development centers in Latin America and Eastern Europe, and then we have a significant percentage of our people here in the United States, and our kind of like primary base is around Charlotte, North Carolina. That's where our founders started the business, but generally we're pretty distributed across the entire country.
And do you guys serve companies anywhere? Like, do you guys provide the service of software development and helping them out worldwide? Or is it something that you're just looking at for or customers in the United States or just in the Americas or anything like that?
I mean, generally, we'd be absolutely open to working with anyone anywhere, but our focus is the United States. It's the largest kind of economic engine in all of the world. I think it's the place where a significant portion of innovation happens across the whole world, and so really, we're focused around the United States and helping solve business problems here for businesses in the U.S.
And Billy, what would be the ideal customer that could arrive to Dualboot that you would say like, oh my goodness, I would love to work with this company because they really have this all set out for us that'll make the job so much easier?
The ideal, I'll start with one kind of like place. I think the ideal customer is a customer that comes to us with a business problem that they know will create more revenue, more efficiency within their business. And then secondarily, any business that has a significant technical workforce, so let's say 20 engineers or more, that is focused around building software, or they're at the core of their business is software that they've built, and then that they're trying to expand that software to meet their customers' demand. So they already have an existing customer base. They are a medium-sized to large-size enterprise business that may have multiple pieces of software that they're managing and multiple software development teams that they're managing, to meet different goals within that organization. So If you think, a large organization, let's say arbitrarily like Walmart, they're going to have innovation arms, they're going to have e-commerce arms, they're going to have operational arms that help with their warehousing facilities. They're going to have human resources needs. They're going to have finance needs to understand, what the financial data that comes in from disparate systems are. We would be an ideal partner for an organization like that because, one, we can scale up pretty quickly in any of those technologies or any of those kind of business verticals, as well as they have a significant need for technology across their entire organization. They need different services to communicate so that they can best make decisions for their business, and they probably have multi-cloud environments where they need technologies to be able to lift and shift to any environment. Any of those kind of solutions where they're trying to make different technologies within their organization communicate, those are really where we work ideally.
The growth you guys have had and in the development of these proprietary AIs and the customers you guys have worked with, do you have any examples or any moments where you actually faced challenges while scaling up, and what has been one of the toughest things while scaling the company that you guys have had to have had to work with or solve?
For the last 2 years, we've been developing AI products. I mean, probably more like three or 4 years now, but really over the last, let's say, 24 to 36 months, we've been highly focused on internal products that enable us to be able to create leverage for our customers. And the nice thing is we have so many different customers and so many different projects that we're working on. You start to see the patterns kind of like bubble up to the surface. And I think one of the kind of unique things is over the last 36 months, AI has revolutionized everything. And I would say it revolutionizes everything every 3 months or so, meaning that every 3 months, there's a whole new set of best-in-class tools that have changed the way we think about things like LLMs, the way we think about generative AI, the way we think about deterministic AI, the way we think about or writing or creating resources in media. I mean, I think just last week, Gemini came out with a new model that revolutionized the way we create images in media. And so along the way, I think like one of the most difficult things is actually keeping up with the best-in-class tools. We've switched out our workflow engines that sit behind our AI tooling 3 or 4 times, let's just say in the last 6 months, because in each one of those instances, something was better. It was easier to implement. It was faster. It was more accurate. And in each one of these instances, we're trying to do the difficult legwork of AI consumption and distillation for our customers prior to our customers needing it. Meaning like we need to understand it better than they're ever going to understand it. And then we need to go out there and present these new solutions to them. So to do that, we have to kind of dog food it internally in our own with our own tools. And what that means is we've got to go see if this tool is actually performing the way we expect it to. So for instance, we've just shifted out 3 or 4 different open source tools throughout the last 3 or 4 months, just because those were better tools to meet our customers' needs than the tools that existed just a few months prior to that.
Wow. So you guys need to as you mentioned, if AI, it really is crazy how every 3 months it comes up with something new, something better, something crazier. So you need to you need to look into your processes and your workflows to make sure you're still using the best options available. Oh my goodness. So this is a never-ending audit that you guys are making on yourselves.
I mean, over the last like 5 to 10 years, one of the things that we've seen in the software development world is these kind of like burst moments where like JavaScript came on as the biggest thing in the world, and everyone was developing in JavaScript. So there was Angular, and there was Vue, and there was Meteor, and there was React, and all of these different technologies. And every few months, you would see something new. And while it's not great to chase the new and shiny thing, I think what is important to understand is that the delta or the difference between each one of these tools that makes one better or one different for a different use case or a different solution. And in the AI space, I think the one thing I've noticed is it's become much more ubiquitous. Its interest is being is to be generally better than the tool before, right? Like it's not trying to be extremely specific in the thing that it does. And I think this kind of leads into artificial general intelligence and things like that. The overarching goal is to create something that, regardless of what question you ask it, it understands how to consume that information and then output something extremely intelligent. And the same thing kind of applies to the tooling that's being built around it. Each one of these tools in itself is being built as a general purpose tool for a specific niche within this kind of general purpose, get AI smarter, get AI better. And I think what we've seen is that because those tools individually are trying to holistically make the ecosystem better, bring up that different vertical inside that solution that it's addressing, it's kind of required us to understand each one of these tools in a really deep way and then see whether they actually fit our overarching solution or the solutions for our customers better. So we really do have to evaluate these things at a pretty tight frequency to know whether we're going in the right direction or not.
Of course. No, I'm like, when I'm hearing your story right now and how you're explaining it, I'm just imagining the cadence of how many times you got to review, see if it is a good fit, if it's better, if it's not. So it really must be a nonstop.
It is
a nonstop process, but that's amazing, man, because you guys can keep evolving each time with how things are progressing in the tech world, and that is super cool. And Billy, would you also I'd love to know is, we're reaching the end of 2025, and what would Dualboot Partners top priorities, like if you could give me top three or just the main thing you'd be interested in achieving in 2026, what would be the direction that Dualboot Partners wants to take?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things that we've seen throughout the last 12 months that's been very clear is businesses are struggling figuring out how to apply AI within their daily development workflow, within their daily business workflow, and they need partners to come alongside them to strategically advise them on not only the direction that they're going with the technology, but whether it applies to the business that they do every single day, whether there's some arbitrage that can be created within their business that either creates efficiency or increases revenue or makes them more profitable. And I think in 2026, Dualboot's goal is to become that strategic technology advisor for groups that are trying to figure out how to enter into the AI space, how to get deeper in the AI space. So how do they create a better user experience for their customers? How do they bubble up information for their customers? How do they make more predictive decisions for their customers? And in each one of those avenues, it's going to require artificial intelligence to create that leverage for them. And so our goal is to become a strategic partner for the businesses that we work with and help them leverage not only AI, but technology to create better user experiences and better products for their customers.
And I know that we're almost at time here, but I did want to give you the chance, Billy, before we finish the episode, to let anybody in the audience know if they're a CTO for a company or if it's a company that's starting out and they're interested in what Dualboot Partners is offering, how could they go about contacting you guys? How could they go about getting a quote or seeing if they're a good fit?
Yeah, so if you're a CTO, CIO, or CSO, or even a CEO that's asking yourself or asking your teams, how can we integrate AI into our business? How can we create efficiency for our teams? And how can we create better user experiences for our customers? Then you need to reach out to us and have a conversation with one of our strategic advisors or one of our business development team members to get a clearer understanding of how we build software faster, better, and stronger for our customers using AI and leveraging AI. And I think what you'll find is that we've been not only doing this for many years now, but we've refined some processes internally. We've created our own tooling, and we've experimented so that you don't necessarily have to. And along that way, I think you will find that we've created a, a good bit of leverage for our customers on how they can move forward with AI and how they can solve technical problems without necessarily needing AI. And so I think it's really important that if you're in that decision-making process on how you consume AI, how you apply AI, and how you create governance for AI within your company, where Dualboot Partners is an amazing partner for that. You can go to dualbootpartners.com, or you can go to db90.ai. If you're interested in our software development lifecycle and our 3PO products, I think db90.ai is the right place to go. And on those pages, there's a landing page that will allow you to give us your information, and we'll reach out to you immediately and get back to you so that we can help you move forward in 2026 with AI at the forefront of your kind of innovation roadmap.
Amazing. So anybody in the audience right here, you just heard it, dualbootpartners.com, or if it's more about the software development lifecycle, then it would be db90.ai. Is that right, Billy?
That's correct. That's db90.ai.
Amazing. Perfect. Well, with that said, I really want to say thank you, Billy, for hopping on the episode, for giving us a bit of your time and being able to explain to us everything about Dualboot Partners and your journey. So we really appreciate the openness.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
No problem at all, man. And to anybody in the audience who is still here with us, thank you so much for listening to the show, for coming to learn of all the different personalities that we talk to, and to keep on seeing all the different industries that we bring on. We hope to catch you on the next one.